there, Griff Hamlin here. Welcome and thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to learn how to play a standard old school 12-bar blues in the key of E using simple open position chords, no capo, and we're going to do it in standard tuning. So this is very much a beginning guitar lesson. If you're into the blues, but you're just getting started and maybe you've only played a little bit, this will be good for you. And then later, we'll add some variations and we'll add some licks and some other things to, to make it so that you're really playing the blues. But like I said, we're going to start with the basics. Now first, you're going to need to know the chords. Okay, so the chords that we're going to be playing in this are E7, A7, and B7. All right, so the E7 is played with your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and your first finger is at the 1st fret of the 3rd string. And I'm going to strum all 6 strings. So as my pick goes across, I'm strumming all 6 strings. So I get the entire sound, okay? So that's E7. Now, when you move to the A7, that's going to change a little bit. Now notice, by the way, that my thumb is pointing up. If you ever notice that your thumb is pointing at the headstock, fix that. Just fix it now. Save yourself a lot of trouble later. Make sure that thumb is pointing up. It should kind of just stick over the back of the neck, maybe a little bit, but it should be pointing up. Now going from E7 to A7 is done by taking the middle finger and move it up to the 4th string. And I know I say up and it looks like I'm moving down, but that's because we always speak in terms of pitch. So go up to the 4th string, 2nd fret, so it's still on the 2nd fret. Lift up your index finger, it's gone, and your 3rd finger, your ring finger, is going to go on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. Now on this one, I don't get to strum all of the strings. I only strum the top 5. But there's a cool little trick. You remember how I told you to put your thumb up on the top? If you can, make it reach around just a little bit and hit that low E string. If it just barely touches it, it'll mute it out. And if it does that, when I come back up, which we're going to do it here in a minute, when I strum up, if I accidentally hit that string, it'll be okay. It won't make any sound. So this is a way you can kind of check yourself. So far I've got E7, and A7. So you might want to try going back and forth between those 2 chords a few times. Now from the E7, we're going to go to the B7. The middle finger won't move, okay? The index finger, my first finger, is going to go down to the 1st fret on the 4th string, so it's just moving by 1 fret. My 3rd finger, I'm going to add to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Now I'll tell you, you probably can't see this, but my middle finger here is barely touching the 6th string. Again, to kind of mute it out for me, okay? So that, again, takes care of that. It would be hard to reach around with my thumb. I could do it, but it's easier to use my finger that's already there, okay? The 2nd string is open. The top string, I should put my pinky on the 2nd fret. If you can't, you'll get that kind of a sound. It's not ideal, but it might get you through if you had to. If you find that you can't get the pinky note to come out, then it's actually better to kill the string by lightly touching it than to leave it open. Okay, so if you can't get that pinky there in time, or you can't get it to push down, just have it rest lightly on that 1st string, and then you'll at least get 4 of the notes. You'll get the sound of the chord. Okay? If you can add it, great, you'll get that high note. But that's something that you can practice on. A lot of times with stuff like this, maybe right now it's hard to get all 4 of the notes to come out. But if you sort of know how to handle it, at least you can play some stuff. And as you practice and you get better at it, pretty soon you'll get to where you can play all 4 notes easily. Okay, so let's go through those chords one more time. E7, A7, and B7. So now that you know the chords, we need to put them together into the standard 12-bar blues format. This is extremely important, and there's thousands of songs that use the 12-bar blues. The other thing is that we have to learn a rhythm figure, which is sometimes abbreviated as a riff, okay? And that's a way so that we have some way to strum these chords. Now, you hear me use the word bar, the 12-bar blues. A bar is another name for a measure in music. And measures, or bars, have 4 beats. So every time you count to 4, that's 1 beat. So our first rhythm figure is simply to strum down on each beat, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you notice that I'm just strumming down, 2, 3, 4. If I go to the A7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? And that's it. So I'm just strumming down every time I count. And please, please, please do yourself a favor and count out loud. We'll talk about this a lot. If you watch other videos of mine, I talk about counting all the time. It's the single biggest mistake I see beginners make is they don't count out loud. Okay? Now, a 12-bar blues in E starts with the E7 chord. It's often called the 1 chord, and it's always, the 1 chord is always the same as the key. So if it's blues in E, E is the 1 chord. If it's blues in A is the 1 chord. If I go up from E, E, F, G, A, I guess to you, E, F, G, A, I get the 4 chord, and I'm just counting through the alphabet, the musical alphabet. And I get E, F, G, A, which is the 4 chord. And I know technically speaking it's F sharp and G sharp, if you want to get techie about the sharps and flats and all that stuff. And we can do that later. But for right now, just go E, F, G, A. And you get the 4 chord, which is the A7, right? Blues is what we call a 1, 4, 5. And if I count up one more, E, F, G, A, B, I get my B7 is my 5 chord, okay? So in a standard old school traditional blues, the first 4 bars are the 1 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. All right, but it's pretty common to do what's called a quick change, where the first 4 bars go 1 bar of 1, 1, 2, 3. Now 1 bar of 4, 1, 2, 3. Now back to the 1, 1, 2, 3 for 2 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that idea is especially common in a slower blues like we're doing. So let's go ahead and do it that way. So if we play that, all right, and then we'll continue, and it's gonna go like this. 1, 2, 3. Now the 4 chord. 1, 2, 3. Back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now we're gonna head up to the 4 chord for 2 bars. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Then back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now to the 5 chord for bar 9, 2, 3. The 4 chord for bar 10, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last 2 bars are the 1 chord, 2, 3, and the 5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we would start over again. Okay, there's nothing that happens in between. You just literally start right over again. And those last 2 bars, by the way, are called the turnaround. And it's also very common to put some sort of cool lick in there. But for now, we're just going to play the chords, and we'll worry about some turnaround licks later. Okay. Now we've been playing on the downbeats. Okay, the 1 and the 2 and the 3, but that's not really the feel of the blues. What we really need is to get a little bit of that blues swing going on, and to do that, we're going to have to divide each beat into 3 pieces. Now, some folks will say something like triplet, and some people will say 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. I say, and many people say, 1 and duh. And it really doesn't matter. You can call them apples, grapes, and pears. It doesn't matter what you say. What matters is that you say something and that you count out loud so that you do it right. In my experience, again, If you think you're counting in your head at this stage and that's going to work, then you probably aren't. You think you are, but it doesn't work out. And you need to count out loud. It truly does fix everything. It fixes everything. Because if you can't count it and play it, then you can't play it yet. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to strum down on the 1, or the 2, or the 3, or the 4, and then we're going to wait through the and. So 1 and then we're going to go up on the So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay? So now if I put that rhythm figure together with the 12-bar blues in E, we get the following. We get the whole thing. And I encourage you to try to play this along with me. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 2, 3 and 4. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. All right, so now you've got a 12-bar blues in the key of E. Your next step is to learn a 12-bar blues in another key. A, for example, is a good one, and I'll put together a video for that. And then maybe add in a turnaround and possibly some licks between your chords and some other rhythm figures. There's one called the blues in E pattern. I call it the blues in E. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult, but it's a very common type of rhythm figure. All right, but we'll save those things for a later video. I have many with that kind of thing. So right now, if you're just getting started, just get this down and get to where you can play it along with me easily before you move on. Now, so thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos. And of course, if you'd like access to even more videos and lessons that I don't post on YouTube, I'll leave a link in the description below this video. And I'm going to go ahead and play out with this entire 12-bar blues. So if you'd like to play it along with me again, I'll count it in, but then I won't count anymore. So the idea is just play it along with me. You count it, and let's play it together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1.